story time on how I got played by a guy that wanted me first. So it was late March, and I had downloaded this app to make friends from like all around the world. And I was just like swapping through profiles, and I matched with this guy. He's 20 and he's from Bristol. So I matched with him because I really like his music taste. It was really good, and he was good looking. Okay, so he texted me first, and he was just like he made a reference to my all-time favorite movie, and he just like texted, "You're my Elio." Now, if you ever saw Call Me by Your Name, you will get that reference like right away. And I was so shocked because I've never heard a man like reference Call Me by Your Name unless they were like my brother or like a gay dude, which I'm not shading on gays. I'm bi myself. But so I answered his reference with another reference, and we keep like doing that with music and like another movies. I was laying down on my bed and I was shaking, I was sweating, and I was sick to my stomach. I have never experienced that before, like ever. It was like all of these feelings going on at the same time. It was magical. I really love it. And I think it was like adrenaline or something going on. I have that moment like aggravated in my mind. So he started to speak to me Shakespearean because he's really into poetry. I was really into that. I was really into that. And we spent like 3 hours talking, and then we didn't spoke in like a whole week, which was confusing to say the least. But I kept talking to other guys, and that was fine until like a week after he texted me again, and he was like, "Hey, like I keep having like flashbacks of this conversation that we had the other day. Like it was really good, and I would like to get to know you. Like, do you have Insta? Do you have Snap?" And so I gave him both. And he snapped me first, but I'm not really on there. So I just sent him a text on Insta, and we start talking like right away. And it was nonstop. Like he will send me stuff, like reels, all of that stuff. And he just kept telling me like how in love he was with me, which was weird because we've known each other for like a week. It wasn't that much. And I was just there for the fun of the moment. I was not thinking that I was gonna get really into him until I got a text from him, and it was like 6 a.m. from him for him because he's like 6 hours ahead of us, and it was a poem. He wrote me a poem. So I knew I was fucked up, and I just kept talking to him, and I was falling and falling harder. He started like texting me in Spanish. I knew it was gonna hurt if he just stopped because he was love bombing me so hard. But I was like, as long as he doesn't stop love bombing me, I'm fine with it. And one of those nights, he was like, I'm drunk. He was drunk, texted me, and he told me that he wanted to have a house with me in northern Italy, and that we were gonna have like 2 kids with my eyes and with his hair because he had like this beautiful curly hair, and it's like a dirty blonde. I was so in love with him. Ew. But yeah, like he kept telling me like how in love he was with me and how I was the only one that he could see like a future with. And he was like, I'm gonna give you my kids and we're gonna raise him and they're gonna be like the most beautiful kids ever. And they're gonna be so loved and we're gonna have this big house with a big library for all my books and a lot of windows for you to look into and like write. It was literally my dream, and I just kept falling for it. And then one of those days, he got drunk again. He's non-alcoholic, but he does drink when he's with his friends. So he was with his friends, and he just texted me, telling me like, "Hey, like I got really drunk. I'm in another city that it's not mine, and I'm just meeting up with this friend." And I was like, "That's good." He sent me a voice note, literally creating a poem as he was talking to me. Told me how much he loved me and all that stuff. And I was like, so I was, at this point, I was really in love with him. And then he just texted me like a couple days after that because I have not been really in a good mood. Like, I've not been that talkative because I was going through stuff. And he was like, hey, like, I don't want anyone else but you. And I want you, not like this made up version of yourself. I don't want you to be fake. I don't want you to do stuff. I want you for who you are. Because I love you. And he was like, and you don't have to change when you're with me because I don't care. Like, I want you with all the things, all the problems that you have. Like, I want you. And we're gonna work this. Like, we're gonna make it work. I'm gonna get a job. Like, if I have to go travel, like, everywhere, I'm gonna do it. So I was like, yeah, this is gonna work. This is gonna work out. And I started to be like more devoted to him. And then he wrote me the second poem. It was called Devotion. And he was just like talking about like how he felt like I was his religion. And I was like this magical thing that he had never experienced before. And I got really into that. But then he stopped talking to me for like a week, maybe more than a week. He was just like replying really late, and it was not the same anymore. So I was like, what's happening? Like, what is happening? And he just come back like a week after that, as if nothing had happened. And I was like, okay, that's really weird. But I'm just gonna play along with it because I don't want him to live anymore. Wrong. And I kept talking, and we kept like making each other promises and stuff. And so at this point, I was so into him, like so into him. And I started to like make decisions to change my life so I could like fit with his life, like goals and stuff. So it was like, you know what? Let's make a playlist because I really love like his music taste and stuff, and he loved mine. So we made a playlist, and the first song that he put on it was "Sober You Should Have Come Over" by Jeff Buckley. Now, I love that song a lot before that, but when he did that, I literally cannot play that song without thinking about him, and that's a problem for me because I really love that song, but I hate to relate it to him. Anyways, he kept like adding these songs, and I had to introduce him to music in Spanish because that's what I speak. That's what my heart speaks, Spanish. So I introduced him to like my favorite bands, and he started to like actively listen to them, which I was really proud of. And then he started acting up again. He just stopped replying. Um, he was really off. It wasn't him anymore. It wasn't like the guy that I met, or like the guy that had promised me all of this stuff. He was different, and it really started to like mess up with my brain because why would he ever do that? And then I started to like scrolling through reels, which I'm not really. It's not really what I do. But I started scrolling through reels, and I started to see those weird likes. Because he was like, yeah, like I'm going to another. He was leaving for the summer to go to Paris. And I was like, that's really good for you because I know that he loves France, but he had never been in France before. And then I saw that he liked a reel saying like, I'm gonna get a French girl for the summer. Excuse me? What do you mean you're gonna get a French girl for the summer? If you were talking to me, tell me all of this stuff, and then you're like, yeah, no, that it's not gonna happen. What? Anyways, I just got over that because I really love him. So I wrote like this big ass paragraph telling him like how much I loved him. But I did not send it because I'm a girl boss. Maybe I was suffering, but I was not gonna send that. So time passed and he started to like talk again, and he was like, I'm sorry, like I've been off because I've been going through this and that, and I have not feeling my best. Like I have not been doing the same stuff as always, which I had noticed because I follow him on Letterboxd, and he normally does like at least a movie a day, and it has been like days, maybe a week, without him like reviewing anything. So it was like, that's weird. Anyways, he had a concert like 2 weeks from that, which was on London, and he's in Bristol, so it's like a hour in train. And he posted on his stories like, I have 2 tickets to go see Bois. And he was like, does anyone want to come with me? And I was like, that's weird. Why would you do that if you're like talking, if you're like something with someone? But I was like, I guess he just wants friends to go with. And so like that concert was a week from now. Like, yeah, it's been a week since that happened. And he went with a girl, and he went with a boy, which was his friend that I already knew because his friend's name is Jack. And he once like texted me when he was with Jack, and he was like, yeah, like you're so beautiful and stuff. And then he was like, oh, I'm with my mate Jack, and yeah, he has the same name as me. And I was like, okay, cool. Um, so he went with those 2 friends, and he just stopped like putting music in our playlist, and he stopped calling me love. He stopped telling me like I love you. He was just talking to me like anything, and he will leave me on deliver for like 20 hours plus. So I was just like, I guess it's over. I guess it's just over. And so he talked to me like after a week that we have not talking at all. And he was like, hey, how have you been? How do you think I've been? How do you genuinely think I've been if it's been a week without you talking to me? I don't know, you tell me how I am. So I was like, I'm alright, like not being feeling my best, but I'm alright. And he was like, oh, that's so sad. Why? Why? So it was like, I don't know, it's just like stuff. And he was like, oh, that's really bad. I hope you get better and stuff. he had been in those situations before. I'm just like, I'm here for you. Like, if you need someone to talk to, like, I'm right here. Like, you can talk to me. And he was like, oh yeah, thank you and stuff. And he would talk to me. But when I needed him, he was never there. Which was kind of odd because he said he loved me. I guess words are just words now. I guess telling someone like, I love you, I want you, you are the only thing I want you, we're gonna get married, I'm gonna give you my kids, means nothing nowadays. That is my fault. Totally my fault. Not his fault for saying it. My fault for believing it. Anyways, we keep talking. We're still talking. But it's just like random reels and small talk because I cannot leave him. Like, I physically cannot leave him. I need him. I absolutely need him. So that's sad. Not really. I got myself into that. I was saying that it was for fun, and I ended up falling. But that is totally fine. Not his fault. My fault. Thank you for watching me just like venting for like almost 20 minutes. That was really good. Bye.